After months of campaigning, preparation, rallies, it's all come down to this. Today we will be doing my final presidential election prediction of the election of 2024. So I hope you enjoy this video. It might be a long one, we'll see, but let's get into it with the safe Republican states. I am going to be putting the states of Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska at large, Nebraska's 3rd congressional district, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, into the safe Republican column. That amounts to 92 electoral votes out of the 270 that Donald Trump needs to win the presidential election. So let's look at these states. Idaho was won by Trump by 31 points in 2020. Utah by 20.5%. Wyoming, 43.4%. Wyoming's the most Republican state in the country. Should not be a surprise there. North Dakota was won by Trump by 33.4%. Their southern brother, 26.2%. Nebraska 3rd congressional district by 53.2%. Nebraska at large, 19%. Oklahoma by 33%. Arkansas, 27%. Louisiana, 18.6%. Mississippi, 16.5%. Alabama, 25.5%. Tennessee, 23.2%. Kentucky, 25.9%. West Virginia, 39%. And Indiana, around 16 percentage points. Let's talk about the states that I will be talking about, that I will be putting into the safe Democratic column now. These states are going to be California, Washington, Hawaii, the District of Columbia, Maryland, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont. Not New Jersey. I'm so sorry for that. Vermont and Illinois. That amounts to 130 electoral votes, mainly from California, to Kamala Harris. That is around 1/2 of the electoral votes that Kamala Harris needs to win the presidential election. So, let's talk about a couple of these. California was won by Biden by 29% in 2020. I believe that Kamala Harris will improve on that margin, as California is nonetheless her home state. Washington was won by Biden by 19.2%. Illinois by 17%. The District of Columbia, 86.8%. Maryland, 33%. Delaware, 19%. New Jersey, 16%. Sorry, not New Jersey. We're not going to do a safe blue New Jersey. Connecticut, 20%. Rhode Island, 20.8%. Massachusetts, 33.5%. Vermont, 35.4%. New York, 23.1%. And finally, Illinois, 17%. Oh, sorry, we have not even included New York yet. But that does amount to 159 electoral votes, as we also add in Maine's 1st congressional district. Maine's 1st congressional district went to Joe Biden by 23% in 2020. Now let's head on into the likely Republican states. These states are going to be Alaska, which I believe will be won by Trump by around 8%. In 2020, he won it by around 10%. I believe Alaska is going to shift to the left, as well with a Democratic Congresswoman, Marian Peltola, on the ballot, which makes more Democrats come out with a more competitive election. The early voting numbers are looking okay for Republicans as of now. Another likely Republican state is going to be Montana. Montana, I do not believe, is actually shifting to the left. Then why do I have it going likely when it went safe by just 1.4% in 2020? Well, it's because there is a very competitive Senate race going on in Montana between incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Tester, who's fighting for his career, against Republican challenger Tim Sheehy, and with a competitive race, more Democrats will turn out to vote. Another state that I will be putting into the likely Republican column is Nebraska's first congressional district. It went to Trump by around 15, almost a safe margin in 2020 by 14.9%. In 2024, I will have it go to Trump by around 11%. The next state we will be putting into the likely Republican column is going to be Kansas. Kansas was a likely Republican state in 2020 and went to Trump by 14.6%. I believe Trump will win it by around 13% in this election year. The next state I will be putting into the likely Republican column is Missouri. Missouri went to Trump by a safe margin, just barely. If it was 0.5% lower, then it would have been a likely Republican state. I believe with this new Seltzer poll from Iowa, which we're going to go a bit more in depth in a sec, I feel like Iowa and Missouri are kind of similar, especially these areas of northern Missouri. So I feel like that Seltzer poll could definitely be telling us something, and Missouri is going to shift to the left by around a point. Iowa. Now, I know that Seltzer poll showed Harris winning Iowa by 3 points. That is false. I mean, come on. Even in Harris's best case scenario in Iowa, Trump only wins it by like 3. Still not a win for Harris. I believe that Trump will win it in 2024 by around 7 points, 8 points. And that does give him Iowa's 6 electoral votes. And I feel like that Seltzer pulls off by quite a bit. Now let's go to Ohio. Ohio, I believe, will go to Trump by around 11 points. It went to Trump by 8 points in 2020. Ohio was shifting to the right, as now there's only one statewide official on the ballot in Ohio. That is going to be Sherrod Brown, an incumbent Democratic senator who's actually on the ballot this year as well. The next likely Republican state is going to be Texas. Texas, I was thinking about putting it into the lane Republican column, but now I move past that. I do believe that Texas will shift to the left by a bit, but this border crisis is pretty bad, and I feel like a lot of Texans are feeling the impact, and I will put Texas as just a barely likely state, 5.1% for Trump. It's not that far off from lean, but it's not lean either. So that is why Texas is going to go into the likely Republican column. Alright, now we have Florida. Florida is shifting to the right this year. It was a lean Republican in 2020. I believe it will shift to the right by 2 points and go to Trump by around, actually not 2 points, 3 points, and go to Trump by around 6.4%, or to 6.7%. We move north to South Carolina. South Carolina went to Trump by 11.7% in 2020. I believe it will go to him by around 11.7%, like a 12-ish, 11-ish once again. Now we move on to our final likely Republican state. That is going to be Maine's 2nd congressional district. It went to Trump by 7.4%. I believe he will win it this year by around 6%. I mean, there's a Democratic congresswoman on the ballot, so that will definitely drive Democratic turnout here, and get it into a more competitive district. But definitely, Democrats don't really have a chance in it. So that is it for the likely Republican states. That was 127 electoral votes. That gives Trump 219 of the 270 he needs to win. And now let's do the likely Democratic states. These states are going to be Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Maine at large. That gives Harris 67 electoral votes and 226 electoral votes total for her to win 270. Let's start analyzing into these. Oregon went to Biden by 16.1%. Oregon's going to shift to the right. I believe it will go to Harris by around 14 points. It definitely has a chance for safe Democrat. I'm not seeing it right now. Colorado went to Biden by a likely Democratic margin in 2020, 13.5%. I believe it will be around 14.5%. Colorado is shifting to the left. There's no doubt about that. New Mexico, Kind of the same thing. I believe will go to Harris by 12% in this election year. Really same thing with Colorado, just a teeny bit less blue. All right, now let's go to Minnesota. Minnesota is Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz's home state. In fact, he's a governor in that state, so I feel like that will definitely improve their margins in Minnesota. I believe that Harris will win it by around 10 points, especially also because of that Seltzer poll that also impacts part of Minnesota. I feel like Iowa has some similarities to rural areas of Minnesota. Nebraska's second congressional district won electoral vote. It went to Biden by 6.6% in 2020. Although there has been redistricting, and I feel like it will go to Harris by around 8% in 2024. Now let's go to Virginia. Virginia went to Biden by 10 points in 2020. Harris, I feel like he's a better candidate. She's a better candidate in this state, and I believe that she'll win it by around 12 points in 2024. Now we have New Hampshire. New Hampshire went to Biden by 7.4% in 2020. Maine went to Biden by 9 points in 2020. I believe these two states are going to be able to be kept by Kamala Harris into the likely Democratic margin. They're going to shift to the left by a bit due to Kamala Harris being a bit more progressive than Biden, and also Tim Walz being a more progressive. I feel like those progressive issues do good in these two states among more liberal Democrats. I believe that New Hampshire will go to Harris by around 10 points and Maine 12. New Jersey. New Jersey, I feel like Jersey City and parts of those areas are going to shift to the right by quite a bit. Although it's just going to be barely likely, it is going to be likely. 14.5%, I believe, is around that margin in New Jersey. All right, we have the 7 swing states left. Let's get into it. North Carolina, tilt Republican. Things are getting too close here for Republicans to feel comfortable in this state. Georgia, same thing. These two states, Trump has made massive gains among black voters in both of these states. That's definitely going to help him, but it might not be all that's enough. So we definitely got to keep an eye out in North Carolina. It was the only swing state that Trump won. In 2020, he won it by 1.3%. I won't keep out Harris winning it because she definitely has a pretty good chance in North Carolina. Same in Georgia. Georgia was super close in 2020. It will be really close again, but it flips this time. Georgia, I have Trump winning it by 0.6%, and North Carolina, Trump winning it by 0.8%. Now let's go to the state of Michigan. Michigan was the most Democratic swing state of 2020. It went to Biden by 2.8%. Polls are showing a strong stable condition for Harris in Michigan, although there are some polls with Trump winning it. And there was a Siena poll, I believe. That poll was for Pennsylvania. But there are polls showing Michigan going either way, but right now I have Michigan going lean Democratic. I have Harris winning it by 1.7%. Now, let's go to the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, it was a very close state in 2020. Biden won it by 0.63%. This is a place where progressive Democrats do well. And Kamala Harris, since she's more progressive than Biden, will do a bit better here. And also, Tim Walz, once again. She definitely gets a lot of appeal in these areas of western Wisconsin. They adore him just like his fellow Minnesotans. So I'm putting Wisconsin into lean blue. Alright, now let's go with Nevada. Nevada is was a lean blue state in 2020. Went to Biden by 2.4%. Once again, Trump has made massive gains among Latino voters in Nevada. As you can see, Trump has got to make gains in Clark and also make gains among Native Americans in uh, areas of Nevada. Same with Arizona. But right now it's just a bit too unclear, and I'm putting Nevada into the lean Democratic column. Now let's go to Arizona. Arizona went to Biden by an extremely slim margin in 2020. And is it going to be the same again? I don't know. But right now, I feel like Trump is going to make lots of good gains among American Indians, Hispanics, and other minorities. And early voting is looking super good for them. Republicans lead Democrats among party registration by 9%. That is bewildering in Arizona. They're leading by a much slimmer margin of 4% in Nevada, which is why I'm putting Nevada into lean blue. But Arizona, tilt Republican. So Trump is 262, Harris is 257. It all comes down to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania went to went to Joe Biden by 1.2%. It was a lean Democratic state in 2020, and JD Vance does okay among voters in like these iron uh this like these iron mill these factory workers in western Pennsylvania. Ohio is a lot like Pennsylvania. Well, no, parts of Pennsylvania like this area. And I mean, there's Butler. I mean, Trump got almost was killed in Butler. YouTube, do not take down this video. But I feel like Pennsylvania really just comes down to the wire. It's super hard. Um, then again, Kamala Harris, she's not Scranton Joe, and Scranton Joe was really the only reason Biden was able to squeak out such a narrow victory in this state. And I mean, Democrats, they're gonna make gains in Chester, and Trump has to try and minimize those gains, while at the same time making improvements in other parts of Pennsylvania. And I feel like he is kind of doing that right now, and I'm going to put Pennsylvania into the tilt Republican column, and that gives Trump a narrow victory of 281 electoral votes. This is going to be my final 2024 presidential election prediction, and let's hope I get it right. I probably won't, but that's it for today's video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.